sign of company. Good evening with your news. Also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. On Friday, word spread like wildfire after a Belizean taxi driver found himself involved in a fatal traffic accident in neighboring Chetumal City in Mexico. Best information indicate that Tulio Armando Rodriguez Oliva experienced a brake failure causing him to fly past the traffic light and therefore slamming into a white and yellow Mexican taxi. Unfortunately, the impact threw out the Mexican taxi driver through the windshield, killing him instantly and leaving his passenger with various injuries and needing medical attention, which he obtained at one of the health facilities. But tonight, Tulio Armando Rodriguez Oliva is behind bars after the first 48 hours of his detention had expired. More worrying for the family is that after 72 hours, little is known of the case being brought against Oliva. Beatrice and Rosalinda Rodriguez, the sister and cousin of Oliva, spoke to local Mexican media about the situation on Sunday. Here is part of the clip.
No hemos recibido ninguna información de la fiscalía. Para comenzar, cuando venimos aquí, la abogada dijeron que tenía que ser una abogada de oficio. Entonces, resulta que no es así, pero no hemos recibido porque ellos no nos han mostrado pruebas, no nos han mostrado videos, no nos han mostrado nada.
Ok, ¿qué pasó con Tulio? El día de hoy nos informan que Tulio ha sido trasladado al penal, al Cerezo. Esa es la información que...
Sí, así es. Nos habían dicho que después de las 48 horas podíamos traer nuestro propio abogado, pero resulta que no fue así. Desde el primer día que mi primo estuvo aquí, tendríamos que haberle conseguido un abogado para que él pudiera estar llevando su caso y hacer investigaciones. Pero como nos dieron una información mala de que hasta 48 horas, porque la fiscalía le asignaba uno de oficio, entonces nosotros, como no somos de aquí, realmente no sabemos las leyes, nos dejamos guiar por esas personas. Ahora resulta que hoy, que ayer, nos dicen de que no, que tenemos que movernos rápido, que necesitamos un abogado ya tarde. Y pues no se pudo, hasta hoy se logró, pero las 48 horas ya habían concluido, sí. Y pues a mi primo se lo han llevado al Cerezo y ahorita sí ya tenemos a un abogado que pues en estos momentos nos está apoyando y a ver qué es lo que sigue.
Es decir, durante las 48 horas quiero pensar que prácticamente nadie tuvo esa asistencia legal. Es decir, estuvo prácticamente solo.
Sí, porque nos dijeron que solamente pues que teníamos que esperar 48 horas para que nosotros podamos tener nuestro propio abogado, que porque la fiscalía te asignaba uno de oficio. Y que, pues,
¿Ustedes no lo conocieron? Para nada.
Nunca vimos al abogado. Ellos vinieron diciendo que tenían el video del accidente y pidieron dinero y resulta que el señor se fue y nunca regresó. Han venido bastantes como abogados y pues realmente no hemos conseguido la
¿Esta
ayuda.
persona cuánto le pidió para poder, entre comillas, solucionar este?
Pues para el video se pidió un avance como de 1,400 pesos, pero pues nunca regresó con nada.
The situation has caused the Facebook jurors and the judges to impose sentencing even before Oliva is charged. All this is unraveling while Oliva's family is concerned about his health condition, and adding to the burden is that they are in need of financial support to fight Oliva's case.
Para la gente de Corozal que pueda pensar que esto es sacar provecho, déjeme decirle que no es así. Estamos en una situación bien difícil, pues porque no somos de aquí de Chetumal y realmente no conocemos las leyes como son aquí. Pedimos su apoyo en lo que sea que puedan donar, que ustedes quieran ayudar a mi primo, se les agradece.
Tulio, ¿cómo se encuentra? ¿Han podido hablar con él, mamita? ¿Han podido hablar con él? ¿Con Tulio saben cómo está?
Sí.
Tranquila, mamita, oíste. Tranquila, ¿has visto a tu primo?
No he tenido la oportunidad de verlo, su esposa sí, ella ha estado trayéndole comida, ha estado viéndole, su hermana, ella sí ha tenido la oportunidad de poder hablar con él, de verlo algunos minutos.
Mi
Ok.
hermano está en depresión, no ha comido y él sufre de depresión, de azúcar,
Ansiedad.
Entonces no está bien, no está bien.
No está bien.
No.
Ok, lo que ahorita sigue es pues una audiencia, ¿no?
Sí,
Quiero pensar que...
sigue una audiencia. El abogado se adelantó para recaudar alguna información, evidencia y hacer los papeleos. De hecho, ahorita nos estamos yendo para hacer eso, para ver qué es lo que realmente sigue, cómo podemos apoyar a mi primo, cuánto tiempo. Nos han dicho que su fianza, si en caso de fianza, podría ser de 100,000 pesos, puede trascender hasta 300,000, dependiendo lo que la familia del señor ahora sí que fallecido pida. Realmente no tenemos una cifra exacta porque no nos han dado. Eso es lo que el abogado, que ahora sí tenemos un abogado que nos representa, es lo que él está viendo y tratando de resolver para nosotros, para darnos una información concreta.
It is possible that Tulio Armando Rodriguez Oliva can be given bail in the sum of up to 300,000 pesos, equivalent to more than $33,000. Our news team contacted the family of the now incarcerated Oliva for an update on his situation as he awaits court appearance. However, the family will decline an interview. They told us information will be provided it's authorized by their lawyer. If you would like to reach out to the family, you can do so via cell phone number 603-6848. Last week, disgraced Corporal number 841 Miguel Alpuche, attached to the Orange Walk Police Formation, was arrested and charged by his own for extortion. Tonight, though, CTV3 News has been made to understand from credible reports that while Alpuche is on bail, he is back on actual duty after instruction was received that he will not be placed on interdiction. With extortion being a serious charge which warrants interdiction, Alpuche's peers did not expect him at work and are sent home with half a salary. We hope to get clarity from Commissioner of Police Chester Williams on this matter. Corporal number 841, Miguel Alpuche, is allegedly involved in an incident that dates back to May 28 of last year. In early June of 2022, Officer Enrique Bacab filed a complaint against him. According to the report, Bacab alleges that Alpuche used his name to swindle a resident who lives in Santa Cruz Village, Orange Walk, which triggered inquiries into the allegation. The investigation led to Jair Tech, a police officer at the Orange Walk Police Formation, who was on sick leave at the time of the investigation, but Tech confirmed the incident in a written statement that on May 28, 2022, a minor was involved in a road traffic accident. Tech says the grandmother requested for him to find out whether or not a report was made about the incident that involved her underage granddaughter, who was driving the motorcycle that apparently knocked down a person. This caused Officer Jair Tech to text and voice a message directly with Corporal Alpuche, who asked for $200 for the charges to be dropped against the minor. The report indicates that Alpuche claimed the monies was being asked by Officer Enrique Bacab, the case officer. Maria Che, the grandmother of the minor, gathered $150 on May 21, 2022. The money was allegedly given to Tech to deliver to Alpuche on the same date, but Alpuche would only receive $50 because Tech found out that the victim of the road traffic accident had been compensated. The case file was sent to the DPP's office, and on September 22nd, the green light was given for Miguel Alpuche to be charged. It was not until 7 months later that Alpuche was picked up by police on Wednesday last and appeared in court last Thursday to answer to the charge of extortion, for which he pleaded not guilty. Bail was offered to him in the sum of $3,000 plus two sureties of $1,500 each, and he is to appear back in court on August 17, 2022. Road traffic accidents have been on the rise, and almost every week there is one to report on this newscast. Tonight, that is the situation that unfolded at the entrance of South End Corozal Town before noon today. Images received by our newsroom confirm a horrific traffic accident. While information is scarce, we do know that the driver of the vehicle had to be taken in to receive medical attention. The amateur video shows how mangled the car ended up, with the driver's side door of the vehicle severely destroyed and the windshield totaled, confirming a high-speed impact. The accident resulted in at least one post lamp being broken, resulting in fallen cables, which halted traffic for a few hours. It is imperative for this situation to remind drivers that across the country there are road works still ongoing, as the Philip Golson Highway is being renovated between Corozal, Orange Walk, and Belize districts. On Friday, we told you about the presentation of a $20 million loan motion to have DFC borrow a large sum of money from the Social Security Board through its mortgage finance program. During that session, Prime Minister John Briceño also introduced 7 amendment bills relating to the financial sector. All 7 bills are being amended to reflect compliance with international anti-money laundering and anti-terrorism financing standards, as the government of Belize continues to take legislative action towards meeting the technical requirements set out by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, CFATF.
The Credit Unions Amendment Bill sets out provisions to A, require credit unions to comply with all requirements of the Money Laundering and Terrorism Prevention Act. B, ensure the Chief Executive Officer, senior executives, and members of the Board of Directors, Supervisory Committee, and Credit Committee of credit unions are fit and proper to function in the relevant capacity. This is to prevent criminals and other associates from exercising significant control over credit unions, and E and C, enable publication of sanctions imposed for non-compliance with legal obligations at the central bank's discretion. 2. The Central Bank of Belize Amendment Bill sets out provisions to A, reinforce the central bank's authority to ensure financial institutions comply with their AML, CFT, CPF obligations. B, avoid conflicts of interest by the central bank's leadership and staff. And C, cooperate with foreign counterparts, particularly with respect to the exchange of supervisory information. 3, the Domestic Banks and Financial Institutions Amendment Bill sets out provisions to A, ensure financial institutions are licensed to operate and that approval of a license is not issued to allow shell banks to be established or to continue to operate. B, allow for the operational independence of the central bank to have full discretion to take actions and decisions on banks and banking groups under supervision. The Money Laundering and Prevention and Terrorism Prevention Amendment Bill is deceptively long, Madam Speaker. It came Clause 47, introduces a new Section 7, Section 8, which is itself about 300 pages long. But it just simply lists individuals and entities which the United Nations oblige us to apply targeted financial sanctions against, and which is required by the FATF. So we have taken a practical step to clear the backlog of those designated persons through this schedule, as opposed to flooding the courts with over 700 applications and bringing our judicial system to a standstill.
Amendments were also made to the National Payment Systems Act, the International Banking Act, and the Money Lenders Act. One very hot issue which was brought up during Friday's special sitting of the House of Representatives was the matter of immigration and government's recent decision to put in place specific measures for visitors arriving from Haiti and Jamaica. That decision was received with much criticism by the opposition, And on Friday, opposition leader Shine Barrow once more raised the issue while also putting to question the government's decision to remove a former Minister of State in the Ministry of Immigration, Honorable Ramon Cervantes.
If the government is serious about anti-corruption, and the Prime Minister has conceded that 2,000 Haitian nationals have disappeared, that has to involve complicit facilitation by the Ministry of Immigration, and I suggest that is why he moved the member from Orange Walk North, Madam Speaker, because he was the Minister of Immigration and he moved,
You
Madam
cannot,
Speaker.
you
Madam
cannot
Speaker.
cast aspersions. I see what you're doing. I'm asking you, please. It is a valid national importance matter.
It is, Madam
So,
Speaker.
member, just confine your statements to it.
Okay, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, and as I said, this PUP government has an egregious history of immigration corruption. Egregious. 1,000 passports they sold under Max Samuels, who I believe he was designated or he had his visa revoked, Madam Speaker. And, in keeping with this issue of immigration and corruption, the Prime Minister tried to justify violating the Treaty of Chaguaramus because of this immigration corruption that he cannot contain that is happening within the immigration ministry. But how is it that you're not asking the Chinese, the People's Republic of China, for visa? Because there are hundreds of them, near the thousands, Madam Speaker, that have been found with illegal permanent residence. So how is it that we are discriminating against our CARICOM brothers and sisters, but you have these nationals from the PRC that are coming into our country with permanent residence, Madam Speaker? There is a problem, Madam Speaker.
Prime Minister John Briceño wasted no time in responding much to the irk of the opposition leader.
What about Jan Saldiva? What about Penner? What about Castro? What about Montero? Wang Hongking, yes. But Gila, did they give him a passport? You had a commission of inquiry, and that commission of inquiry condemned the UDP government. And yet what did they do? They buried the report. They buried the report. And now you come and talk to me about this? And then, again, you see, I think it's shameful when you come and speak out of ignorance, not knowing the facts. When he's coming and saying that members of the PRC are coming in without visas, Madam Speaker, he should know better. Every member that comes into this country have to get a visa. And if they have a PR, a permanent residence, it could quite likely be that is a very simple I mentioned, give them the permanent residence. You need to be careful how you speak. Because when you spit up in the air, it falls on your face. And that's exactly what happened to you today.
There is good news for the northern districts tonight based on an announcement made by the Prime Minister of Belize on social media over the weekend. PM John Briceño wrote, and we quote, "Last week I visited with Honorable Andre Perez the potential site for a new port to be built in the New Land Mennonite community in Corozal. The realization of a port in this location would provide an easier connection to San Pedro town, facilitating the movement of persons who travel for work to the island from the mainland Corozal, while cutting the cost of transporting goods from the mainland to the Keys. A real economic game changer for the island community," end of quote. No other additional information has been released yet. However, we do recognize that the project would bring economic revamping to communities in the Corozal and Orange Walk districts. For many years, the only route available for Norteños to get to San Pedro and Key Conquer via water was from Belize City. A few years ago, that changed when a private company began making boat runs from Corozal town to Sarteneja and bounded for San Pedro town. If the project pulls through, it will be the first ever Mennonite shipping and water taxi port in northern Belize. The new land Mennonite community is in close proximity to San Pedro, making it an ideal location for the new port. The community has been seeking opportunities to improve their local economy, and the proposed port provides a viable option for them. The potential new port would not only benefit the residents of the new land Mennonite community, but also the wider economy of the country, facilitating the movement of people and goods between the mainland and the island, supporting trade and tourism-related activities. The visit of Minister Perez to the new land Mennonite community is seen as a significant step in the right direction as the government explores opportunities to drive growth and development across the country. The government is committed to finding solutions that will create economic opportunities for our newsroom. We'll be following this latest announcement and bring you the updates as information becomes available. Coming up next, Patrick Faber back in good graces with the UDP. Stay tuned.
Come on!
When hungry or craving, when laughter or tears, enjoy the best snacking or flavors are here. Asadas, mocadas, chiladas, doradas, delicious for snacking, done right and done here.
Done right, done here.
Something's been bothering me a little. I have done all the things a wife is supposed to do. The house, the meals. Where is the payback? I'm very attracted to you.
Oh.
Would you be interested in having an affair? You two just looked at each other like you got a secret. I just don't want anybody to get hurt.
What's your dream wedding?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll go first. I would wear something really cute, you know? Just festive. But not like white or bridal, because you gotta keep them guessing.
You gotta keep them guessing.
And I would walk down the aisle to the song Gloria by Laura Branigan. And of course, in my childhood, I dreamed that I would fly her in to sing it. But now, I have you.
Oh, Joel, you can't touch Brannigan.
You can touch Branigan.
No Barbara, no Judy, no Brannigan.
Come on.
Gloria, Gloria,
Oh.
I think they've got your number. Gloria, I think they've got the alias. Gloria, that you've been living under, but you really don't remember. Was it something that they said? All the voices in your head calling Gloria. Shake 'em, Gloria, Gloria. I think I got your number, Gloria.
Word coming out of the UDP camp tonight is that the Red Party is finally trying to mend fences and put the past behind, or at least that is how they want it to seem like in the public's domain. CTV3 News understands that opposition leader Shine Barrow has welcomed Patrick Faber back to the fold of the UDP. Faber has won 5 consecutive terms as the area representative for the Colette Division in the Belize District and is considered one of the strongest parliamentarians under the UDP flag. The seasoned politician's application to run as the standard bearer in Colette was rejected in October last year. It is no secret that the former party leader has had issues with the way the present party leader of the UDP operates the business of the party. It seems the decision was made after Ian Jones, who had replaced Faber last year, resigned from the post to make way for Faber. An official release is still pending to validify Patrick Faber back to the UDP, but via WhatsApp, Shine Barrow told us, quote, "The return of Honorable Faber is a part of my sustained efforts to keep the UDP united and put us in the best position to win the municipal elections and general elections. The people of Belize deserve a better government than they currently have, and the UDP is ready to serve as the next government of Belize," unquote. During Friday's special sitting of the House of Representatives, the Minister of Home Affairs, Kareem Musa, introduced a bill that will allow for the appointment of independent prosecutors in the investigation and prosecution of criminal matters. The special prosecution bill comes at the heels of the gruesome New Year's Eve triple murder of David, John, and Vivian Ramnareis in Belmopan. The bill, according to Minister Musa, was deemed necessary considering the relationship of the accused murder in that case to the Director of Public Prosecutions. The passage of a Special Prosecution Act will allow for that special prosecutor to act independent of the DPP's office.
A bill for an act to prescribe matters necessary for the appointment and duties of a special prosecutor who has an independent status within the scope of a specific case in the investigation of crime and institution of public prosecution, and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Madam Speaker, by way of introductory remarks, it is still very fresh in our collective minds the very heinous and tragic triple murder that took place on December 31st, 2022, right here in our capital city, where John Ramnareis, David Ramnareis, and Vivian Belial Ramnareis lost their lives. We know, Madam Speaker, that the accused in this particular incident is a corporal of police who was on interdiction, and it was learnt that, of course, he has a familial tie, albeit distant, with the current Director of Public Prosecutions. And while, Madam Speaker, we have absolutely no reason to feel that there is any bias whatsoever, and we believe that the DPP could certainly carry out in a very professional manner this particular prosecution, we are nevertheless confounded by the fact that there is this familial tie, and as such, to remove any perception of bias whatsoever and to ensure that we have an above-board and transparent prosecution in this very high-profile case, it has become necessary for us to introduce and pass this special prosecutor's bill. Madam Speaker, while it is that the Constitution at Section 53 provides for the director to instruct or give authority to another individual outside of her office to prosecute by way of a writ, it is the recommended advice and guidance from our Attorney General that any such prosecutor would still fall under the guidance and instructions of the DPP. And so that is why this particular bill has become necessary, so as to ensure, like I said, that we have an independent, completely autonomous prosecution in this particular case.
Today, Deputy Prime Minister Cordell Hyde and Henry Charles Usher, Minister of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform and Religious Affairs, met with representatives from the People's Constitution Commission, PCC, and a team of technical experts. Discussions included the upcoming stakeholder workshop that commences on April 25, 2023. During the two-day session, the technical team will work along with local specialists to educate commissioners on the contents of Belize's constitution, as well as discuss shortcomings and suggest improvements as the PCC prepares for the constitutional reform process. Ministers Hyde and Usher were joined by Narda Garcia, CEO in the Office of the Prime Minister, and Rolando Cetina, CEO in the Ministry of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform and Religious Affairs. The PCC team was led by Chairman Anthony Chanuna. Chanuna was accompanied by Glenfield Dennison, Vice Chairman, and Assessor Ross, head of the PCC Secretariat. Jason Gluck, UNDP constitutional expert and member of the visiting technical team, was also present for the meeting.
The need for a collaborative forum for all women parliamentarians in Belize, notwithstanding party affiliation or the chamber in which they serve, has been identified. And whereas such forum may facilitate networking, foster productive dialogue on issues of women's rights and gender equality, and promote the undertaking of actions to positively impact the inclusiveness of the legislature, legislative process, and the country as a whole. And finally, whereas there has been a consensus among the women parliamentarians that this forum be established as a bicameral caucus of women parliamentarians.
This motion, Madam Speaker, has the full support of the UDP Women Caucus, who has representatives in both chambers, both here in the House and in the Senate. This is a fine example of what is possible when there can be collaboration on both sides of the House in the interests of women, families, and children.
On Sunday, the United Democratic Party held a convention to elect a new standard bearer for the Corozal Southeast constituency. Dalinda Blando ran up against businessman Tony Herrera. After the voters were counted, Herrera came out victorious, beating Blanco by more than 800 votes.
1,129. Dalinda Blanco got a total of 134 votes. Tony Antonio Herrera got a total of 989 votes. Rejected was 6. So congratulations, Tony.
In the last general elections, Tony Herrera lost against Honorable Florencia Marin Jr., who sits as the area representative for the Corozal Southeast constituency. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Tuesday, April 25th here on CTV3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.